We are officially live and welcome everyone. I am your host for the Midday Quickie, Coach K, bringing you another women centered topic. Y'all know I can't do two things at once, so I was typing and texting at the same time. So I opened up the room probably like 30 seconds early because I know it takes some people time to kind of get that notifications and to get into the room. So welcome everybody to the Midday Quickie. I'm super excited about today's topic because as always, the Midday Quickie is a bi-weekly discussion of all things women centered. Here, I talk about topics that women want to talk about, and quite frankly, things that we need to talk about that we don't always get around to doing so. Many things that we don't think about, and the whole purpose is to get the conversation started, to open up dialogue, and to ensure that you are having these discussions with any and everyone that you need to have these discussions with. This is a members only discussion, so this is not open to the general public. I only open the room up like this when we have special guests, which I'm really excited about the next special guest that we're going to have, but y'all will hear about that later. So, because we're only here for 30 minutes, I am going to get us started. So, if you are joining me here on Clubhouse, please feel free to, well, you won't be able to ping people, but that's okay. You will at the end. So today's topic, the topic is I overstayed my welcome. So one of the things, and welcome here on Clubhouse, because it is a closed door, I don't really call out names, and absolutely feel free to use the back channel to send any messages that you want to send, or raise your hand and come on up and be an interactive part of the discussion. Same here in the Facebook group. I can't always see who's over there, and my comments don't always come through. So still put your comments up, and don't always show up. So overstaying your welcome. So earlier today, I put a post up on my Facebook business page as well as on Instagram. And I asked, why did you stay in a relationship that was flatlined? And, women, we do it. We tend to just kind of stay. And I wrote out some scenarios of why. And they were really short. Some of the reasons why we kind of hang around in relationships a little bit longer than we should is because of past rejection, because of abuse, and I'll explain that one. Some people are in the pick me syndrome, and that's not always a negative thing. It's just, it happens. Some people are on the I can fix it mindset. And then there's the, but I love him phase that we sometimes never come out of. And so when I talk about the past rejection, when I talk about rejection, I'm not just talking about in an adult relationship. When I speak about rejection, I'm talking about rejection that you may have felt and endured as a child growing up. And so when you get into some sort of relationship, your goal is to hold on to that relationship. You don't want to let it go because you know what it feels like when someone doesn't want you around. And so we tend to just cling on to whatever it is that we can cling on to, i.e. a flatline relationship, because of that fear of knowing what that rejection in that previous relationship felt like. But we have to be able to take a step back, recognize where it is that we got to this point, where in our minds that we have such a hard rejection somewhere, whether it could have been a playground group that you were trying to go play with friends and they were like, no, we don't want you around. It could have been where you felt a parent may have rejected you and who you are, and you felt like the need to, now that you're in this relationship because someone has accepted you, you kind of stay in it. That happens. And so always easy, and not everyone goes and need for it, which is understandable. Hey, Tara, thank you for joining me here on in the Facebook group. I can always see it. And so the second one that I talked about was abuse. And I'll start on this. I am not a licensed therapist or a licensed counselor in any of the abuse situations, but I can speak from experience of seeing and from clients that I have dealt with that had some part of this. And when I talk about abuse, it's not always just drag out, knock down abuse, which no abuse is okay. Let's just make sure that's very clear. But when we've grown up in an environment of toxicity or abuse, that is something that even though we do not like it, it becomes a place of comfort because that's all we know. And so we get into relationships and where it seems like this relationship is just amazing because again, someone has accepted you, someone, loves you for quote unquote who you are, or so we may think because we don't see anything different, then we just kind of stay around. And that one, when it comes to that abuse and that, just walk away, it's not always that easy to just walk away. And that's how we end up overstaying our welcome. I'm just thinking somebody really quickly. Because I want to be able to see all messages. And I know that if it's someone who I'm not following on Clubhouse, it goes to my requests. So here on Facebook, Tara did say, unfortunately, we live what we learn. Absolutely, we do, because it becomes a very comfortable place for us. And so we just don't have that step out of the comfort zone mindset that we can just get out of that place. We also don't always recognize the various forms that abuse comes into, because we all know the normal ones, the physical abuse, because that's something that we can see and feel and hear. Also with the verbal abuse, not everyone can recognize, mental abuse, financial abuse. Just about every aspect of your life can be moved into an abusive place when someone is using their power to hold something over you or take something from you for you to feel less than. That's not a full definition. That's just a synopsis of what an abusive situation, some of the parameters come with. And so we end up overstaying our welcome in a relationship that doesn't serve us any type of positive outcome based on what we've experienced in the past in that abusive place. This doesn't feel like that. So we may have went from a physical abusive situation, then we walk into one that is mental or verbal, but because no one's putting their hands on us, we don't recognize that we're being beat down in our minds. And so that's breaking us completely down. And so we stay in that because in our world, I'm not getting abused, I'm not being hurt physically, so I can stay in this. And that's where we go into the I can fix it mindset, because that's one of the ones I named. Women are natural nurturers. And don't get me wrong, some men do have that in them as well, but it's not nurtured enough to grow and to stay a part of their being. As women, you're really taught to, be a mom. You're taught to be a wife, be a good spouse, be a good best friend, be a good daughter, be a good. You're supposed to just be a good something. And usually when someone is saying be a good X, Y, and Z, they're not telling you the how. They're just giving you those words. And so in your mind, if I need to be good, I shouldn't speak up against anything. I shouldn't protest against anything. I shouldn't say or mention any things that I actually want or what I deserve. It's just sit down, be quiet, and do what you're told is what good. That's what we learned growing up. And so when we get into this, I can fix it mindset, we're also very stubborn as women. We don't move out of that mindset. If we say we can fix this relationship or we can fix this person, we stay in this thing and we try to fix them, not realizing that If you are in a rainstorm, say you're in a hurricane and you are trying to fix your clay house, and you have this clay that you keep trying to patch this hole up with, that's what you're doing when you get into the I can fix it mode with a relationship that is flatline, that no longer serves you any type of positivity. You have to be able to come out of the I can fix it mode and realize, hey, maybe I shouldn't be trying to repair a clay house in a hurricane with wet clay. It's not going to work. Again, we get into that mode and we just sit in it and we say that we can do it. And when we get our hooks into something, ladies, we don't really come out of that. We keep our hooks in so tight because we don't want to fail. It is not a failure when a relationship ends. And I need for us to hear it, let it sink in, and speak that to another woman that you know. It is not a failure if a relationship ends. What you want to make sure that you do get out of it is you want to learn what were the pieces and the roles that I may have played in that thing that caused it to end. You can recognize the other party, but I will really caution you against trying to lean in heavy to what the other person did, because there's nothing you can do about that other person. You can't fix it. You can't make them apologize. You can't make them correct it. You cannot do anything. But as Tara just said on Facebook, we can only fix ourselves. So you recognize those roles and pieces that you may have played in that, and you work on those. You work on yourself. You don't need to be in I can fix it mode to fix a irreparable relationship. And ladies, you have to come out of that. You can't fix everything, and it's okay. Something that's not fixed is not necessarily broken. Go ahead, Tia. She said, stop talking to me. I'm better now. I'm not talking to you, girl. um, you do have to understand that everything that's not fixed is not necessarily broken, because what a fire is to me is not going to be a fire to someone else. So we have to come out of that. And when you stay in I can fix it mode, what you're doing is you're holding on to something that probably does not want to be held on to. And I've even said in the post that I put up that sometimes you have been all but told to your face to SCRAM, go away, but yet you're still in the, well, I can fix this. I can really put this together. And you just can't fix everything, and it's perfectly okay. I need you to be okay with that. And so the fourth one that I talked about, and this is one that has become really heavy over the last, I would say, it's become in the forefront. I would say that because it's always been there, but this is something that has become in the forefront over the last 10 years, probably 15, but at least the last 10 years, and very prevalent in the last 5 years. And that is the pick me syndrome. Ladies, we will overstay our welcome in a relationship because we enjoy being picked. I want you all to think back to when you were in school. Some of us are older than others, so all of us may not have the same experience. But when you were in school and it was time to pick teams, you know, as the little girl, in that whole bunch of people in your head, you were screaming, pick me, pick me, pick me. I know I'm good. I can do this. I can be on that team. Pick me, pick me, pick me. And so they start picking the teams. They pick this person. They're picking all these people around you. And it's like, oh my gosh, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me. We have been conditioned to want to be picked as really little kids because, and picked by our peers. It wasn't a teacher who says, I'm going to pick the teams. You go there, you go there. And it feels a little bit different when there's an authoritative figure that's choosing and putting people together, because in your mind, okay, they may have this formula because they're an authoritative figure, so they pretty much know the strategy and the formula that they're putting together. But no, we've been conditioned to want to be picked by our peers based on when we were younger, and we grow up into that. And as social media has become like a thing, that really came to play, because oh my gosh, this person got 20,000 likes and views because they posted a picture like this, standing like this. And so I want to be picked. I want to have 20,000 views. So I'm going to pose. I'm just going to turn it to this side and I'm going to do this. And so it happens in our relationships. We want to be picked so bad that no matter who picks us, we have to sit in it because it's now in the public eye. We've been picked. Oh my gosh, this person picked me. So it must be a thing. This relationship must be for me because they picked me. And I'm going to stay in this relationship no matter what because they picked me. Well, guess what, ladies? I need you to run to the closest mirror that you can go to right now. I need you to look in that mirror and I need you to say to yourself, and I really want you to say this out loud. I don't care who's around. I want you to say, girl, I pick you. You have to learn how to pick you. If you are going to live in the pick me phase, then you pick you. You be the person that is going to be the determining factor of what you do and how you win this whatever contest that is going on. Pick you. And therefore, you're not waiting for somebody to pick you, and then you're sitting in this thing that does not serve you positively. It does not serve any good purpose whatsoever. It is just having you sit in a place of darkness that you clearly know your bag should have been packed and you should have been out of there. And guess what? This doesn't just mean in a romantic relationship. This could be a friendship. And ladies, I will tell you this. You all will sit in a friendship, especially, and I will say that this one has become like a thing lately with your sis, your sister. You have now been told by society and growing up that no matter what, you stick with this other woman. You stick with her. That's your friend. You're supposed to have her back no matter what. Treat her like family. That does not necessarily mean that they get the rights to you the same way an actual friend does. Looking out for another woman does not mean you stay in a friendship that is not healthy or serving for you in a positive way. It truly just means, absolutely. And it was a post that I saw in a group recently. If I saw a girl who I did not like or who I did not get along with, passed out sloppy drunk in a room full of a whole bunch of guys, the question was, would you put her in your car and take her somewhere? Well, no, she's not my friend. But what I will say is, I will ensure that no harm comes to her. I will find out where her friends are and get them with her. But that doesn't mean that I need to go and be friends with someone who I know good and hell well that I'm not going to be friends with, and we don't get along just for the sake of sisterhood. That don't work like that. And so here on Facebook, Tara says friendships can run their course too. They absolutely can. And Latia says, girl, yes, because hearing it again is confirmation to my growth. Yes. And that's why I love to do these rooms. These midday quickies, ladies, are just for you, because sometimes you are already on a path or a journey. And if the message comes to me, it is for me to put out into the world and for you to take that and add it to your toolbox. Because there are some girlfriends who are around you that because you feel like, oh my gosh, I got to keep this sisterhood, that you allow yourself to overstay your welcome in that relationship or in that friendship that is not positively serving your growth. And it is okay to step out of that. But you have to be able to recognize that. If you're not speaking to yourself on a regular basis, in the mirror or in the shower, you don't have to necessarily look at yourself, but you're not speaking to yourself on a regular basis to the point where you can hear yourself start to answer you, then I will ask you to start doing that. That is something that I do give to my clients. As a life coach, I want to make sure that you speak to yourself. When our sessions end, you have to take specific tools and to continue on with them. One of the the big things I'm really excited about, and I always talk about this in my boot camp, is those tools that you get to help you to recognize when you've overstayed your welcome at a job. If you pull up to your job and it feels like a darkness comes around you and it holds you, and you just have to really muster up any type of strength to get out of your vehicle and walk into that building, it is time for you to recognize you may have overstayed your welcome because of one or two things. You're not speaking up for yourself and asking for what you need, or you've done it, they're not hearing you, and it's truly time for you to walk away. So in friendships, in romantic relationships, in careerships, yes, said it, and any other thing that you are a party to with someone else. It could be especially with your family and even your children. You need to be able to recognize, am I not speaking up for the things that I want, need, and desire in this relationship that we have? Or am I speaking up and no one is listening or taking actions to what it is that I need, want, and desire in this, to the point where I need to sever ties, walk away, cool it back, chill it out, because maybe I'm overstaying my welcome. And these are not decisions or choices or things that you come to immediately. This is not something that you wake up tomorrow and say, oh my gosh, you know what? That girl really does piss me off all the time. Or, I'm done with this man. He is not listening to me. It doesn't happen overnight. This is something that you need to talk to yourself about. Again, pick me, pick yourself. Have that conversation with yourself. As a life coach, I welcome you to schedule a discovery call with me. If I'm going to be helpful to your growth in getting to that place, then by all means, I am always open to that. But you have to be able to recognize when you've overstayed your welcome. I want to give you this thing to think about. And we are coming up on the last 8 minutes. And at the end of this, I always open up the room. So I am going to let our visitors in. Because we're going to be closing the room down in a little bit. And so they can get the last tidbits. They couldn't get the whole thing. But I want you to think about this. So I gave you the playground scenario earlier. How many of you guys have ever been putting together a puzzle? Or maybe you were putting together a bookshelf or something that came with directions. And you were working on this, or you were at work and you were doing a project for work, and you were working on this thing, and you got to a point where you were just so frustrated that you stopped the project. You walked away. Maybe you went to lunch. Maybe you went and, got something to drink. Maybe you just went and watched TV, but you walked away from that project for a little bit, or the puzzle. So after about 15, 20 minutes, you come back. It could be longer than that if you went to lunch and you were at work. When you come back, you pick up where you left off, but you were able to maneuver through that obstacle that you weren't able to before. Really think about that. Why were you able to accomplish and move forward past that obstacle, whereas before you could not? That's what I mean when I say, really think about, have you overstayed your welcome? The reason why you were able to come back to that puzzle or to that project and move forward is because you let it go. You freed your mind from this thing. You got out of the I can fix it mindset. When you're in I can fix it mindset, you are inside of this box and you don't allow anything in, you don't allow anything out. You're just, I know the tools that it takes to fix this thing, and I'm determined to do it. So when you walked away, you came out of that box. You allowed other things to come in. You open your mind to realize and recognize maybe what I was doing was not the exact path that I needed to be on to accomplish the goal of completion. And so when you start to recognize that maybe I am overstaying my welcome in a relationship, I would rather you step back, walk away before things get to the point of no return. Because here's the thing. You ever heard of people who got married, got divorced, got married again, and now they're in just a happy place? Doesn't happen all the time, don't get me wrong. Or friends who were really tight friends, they fell out, they walked away, they came back together, and they were able to have not the same friendship. It won't be the same. It will be different. That's one thing you have to understand. So when you walk away, when you walk back into it, it will be different. If you're able to recognize before you've gotten to the point of a completely severed and ruined relationship, friendship, workship, whatever ship, then sometimes you can circle back with a clear mind, an open mind, a different set of eyes, and you can maneuver it differently. But when you stay in the I can fix it mood, the pick me mood, the abused mind mood, the I was rejected before mind, when you stay in those modes, you will not be able to have anything that will allow you to move forward in your own personal growth, which without your personal growth, any relationship that you touch will not grow. So we have to, ladies, we have to be able to recognize if I'm a constant state of being upset and unhappy, why? If I'm in a constant state of feeling rejected, feeling abused, feeling like I have to fix something, feeling like I need for someone else to pick me besides myself, then we have to be able to step back, take a good view, and ask ourselves, have I overstayed my welcome? And if you have a transparent conversation with yourself first, and then with the other party or parties involved. Sever those ties, understanding that a severed tie is not a failure. If and only if it serves to be of a positive place for your growth, to circle back, and don't force it, because if it's going to come back, it's going to come back, then you can revisit. But if you're in that same state and you have not followed the 5 steps of grieving a ended relationship, and if you want to see those, go to my IGTV and you will find them there, or my YouTube, Coach K101, and you'll be able to find those. If you have not gone through those 5 steps of grieving a relationship, do not enter into a new one. And that's a friendship, a romantic relationship, a careership or workship, because the repair is with you first. So we are 1 minute from closing our midday quickie. I want to thank everyone that was able to join me here today. This midday quickie is here every Monday and every Friday at excuse me, at 12:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for only 30 minutes during your lunch break. I'm your life coach and certified sexologist, Coach K, welcoming you to follow my club here on Clubhouse, which is the Life, Love, and Intimacy Club. So you know every single time I open one of these rooms up, this is a closed door room. So I only open it up at the very end on Clubhouse to other folks. So if you're not following the club, you'll miss a lot of stuff. On tomorrow night, for the OPP Vibes, formerly Sex and Relationship Chat, I am super excited that I have a special guest that you do not want to miss. She is an STD coach. She will be talking to us about maneuvering your relationship. Well, I'm not going to tell you. You just show up tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and see the goodies that I have for you. And ladies, she will be back on Friday for a closed door conversation, especially for the ladies, for the midday quickie on Friday as well. So if you would like to know more about being a part of the private Facebook group who I've been talking to, in addition to Clubhouse, you can come on over to CoachK101.com. Ladies, don't forget to invite a woman in who could benefit from some of these topics that we talk about here. And if you want to join me on Clubhouse, I am Coach K101 on everything. So I'll see you guys tomorrow night and then again on Friday. Oh, and Wednesday, I got Coach K After Dark. Oh, we're going to be talking about some good stuff. Oh, y'all just got to follow me. Come on over to my Instagram so you can see all the things that we have going on. Y'all enjoy the rest of your work day. Thank you for joining me again, and I will talk to you later. Bye, everybody.